Hey freaks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is JJ. I'm both an author and a metalhead, and here on my channel I discuss these stories behind rock and metal concept albums. So, if you're watching this and you have not already watched the video that I did prior to this on Sleep Token talking about their first two EPs, 1 and 2, then I suggest you go check that out. I will link that down in the description and I will link that up here. Go check that out because if you don't watch that video before this video, you might be a little bit lost as far as what the heck is going on with this band. That one just kind of like background info. It's kind of the inception of this whole idea of this vessel character and this sleep deity. And yeah, just the origin story that you kind of need to know before jumping into this trilogy. So go watch that real quick if you haven't already. This video will be on Sleep Token's 2019 album, their very first full-length album called Sundowning. And this one is a lot to do with kind of going through the seasons of the year and exploring the relationship between vessel and sleep. So before we get started, make sure you hit subscribe if you have not already, and ring that bell thing so you get notified when I put out the rest of the videos on the whole Sleep Token trilogy that we have. And you are also welcome to join my Metalhead community. Link is down in the description. It's totally free and you get access to bonus content and a monthly newsletter from yours truly. So yeah, with that said, let's jump right in. So like I said in my other video, this story concept explanation has been influenced by, number one, the very few interviews that we have from the band, and also a bunch of fan forums, music videos, and different fan interpretations of the storyline and the lore, along with my personal, creative interpretation. I am a writer and author, so I put my own creative spin on this one to try and interpret the lyrics as best I could. So here we go. We start off with track 1, The Night Does Not Belong to God. So here we have Vessel just kind of preaching to anyone who will listen, that though you may live by the rules of another god during the daytime, we are all ruled by the same goddess called sleep when we go to sleep at night. And when we sleep, we enter her realm. And in her realm, the rules are a little bit different, whereas some gods, in the daytime realm may make you feel guilty or punish you for certain sins that you commit. When you enter sleep's realm, you are kind of returning home to the safety of, exploring with acceptance whatever dark inner thoughts and desires you may have during the day. So the sleep nighttime dream realm is kind of a refuge for all your sins that you want to commit. The safe way to explore the dark inner psyche, so to speak. So I believe this song is mostly kind of inviting the listener to enter sleep's realm and enter into worship of this goddess of night. Next up, we have track 2, The Offering. And I believe this is basically just a love song from Vessel to the deity Sleep. And I believe this song is kind of explores the idea of like temptation. Sleep is often likened to Eve or, like the serpent from the garden in, the book of Genesis. And so this is Vessel, kind of like how I look at it is Vessel showing his followers how to worship and, how physical desire and spiritual worship are linked together. Like you can worship through getting it on, I think, is kind of the message that we get in this song. Basically, if you're getting it on at night, you're worshiping sleep. Next up, we have track 3, Levitate. So this track, I believe, takes place in the winter. And so far, everything has been all, shits and giggles, all harmony and happiness and, butterflies and sex between Vessel and Sleep. It's the beginnings of the relationship where everything's all has that rosy glow to it. Like most relationships start out, it's all passion and infatuation. It's temporary madness, really. But what was once fiery passion between Sleep and Vessel, it's beginning to cool off a little bit as we get to winter time. So now we see some cracks starting to form in their relationship. Vessel clings on to Sleep, growing more and more insecure about her dedication to him. Now he's kind of given everything he has to her, his body, his soul, his time, his energy, his love. And he fears now that people are beginning to worship her, she may not need him anymore once she becomes strong enough to kind of walk the earth without him. She won't need a vessel to possess. She will just be able to walk the world freely once she has enough people worshiping her. And he doesn't feel like he would be able to survive her leaving him. And that takes us into track 4, Dark Signs. So here I believe Vessel is kind of thinking back on when he first met Sleep, and how he should have kind of seen some warning signs in her nature right from the get-go. But he was so infatuated with her, he just completely ignored them. And now he's starting to realize that he can't, remember anything about himself before her. When Sleep took him over as her vessel, all his past memories, his past self, it was kind of obliterated in the process. And so he is starting to feel this loss of identity, more deeply recently as time has gone on. And, as she is starting to retreat from him a little bit, he's having to kind of for the first time figure out who he is without her. And that is absolutely terrifying to him. And so, when they had first joined together, when they first became the combination of Sleep and Vessel, she was with him 24/7. Now she is starting to recede from him and return her consciousness to the dream realm where she is from. She's a boss woman. She's got stuff to do. She's got responsibilities, and she likes being queen in her own realm. So she begins to sort of retreat from Vessel just a bit. But Vessel can't always just go with her to this dream realm because he must hold their tether to Earth. So like I kind of explained kind of poorly in my last video about how Sleep and Vessel are sort of one entity, two sides of a coin. Vessel is Sleep's earthly body, and so without Vessel, Sleep has no way to walk the world, and so Vessel has to kind of maintain his existence on Earth and not just be in the dream realm all the time in order to, like I said, kind of hold the tether to the Earth so that when Sleep chooses, she will walk through him. Even though she is technically always with him, like always there, it's just her consciousness sort of, wanders off towards the nightmare realm that she owns. So Vessel is fairly immature when it comes to coping mechanisms and, being an adult in a relationship. So, instead of, just confronting Sleep and, talking things out like adults, he seeks comfort in other women instead. And, he kind of plays that stupid, immature game that some people play in relationships where it's like, when one is feeling unloved, they will, go and try to make the other person jealous. That whole type of toxic, behavior type of thing, I think is what is embodied between Vessel and Sleep. Vessel's feeling unloved, and so he tries to, grab her attention in any way he can, just to see if he can get a rise out of her, just to see if she cares enough to get jealous or whatever. We then get to track 5, Higher. So this, I believe, is a fight between Vessel and Sleep. And it's this sort of very hateful, angry fighting that epitomizes why domestic violence cases tend to be the most violent, statistically. They fight, and it's this kind of fighting that, like I said, people in toxic relationships, they tend to kind of romanticize as passionate. Oh, you can only fight with someone this passionately if you really love them, which is not at all how relationships should be. But both Sleep and Vessel are so caught up in each other that they think this fighting is sort of a way of showing their love for each other. It's a really messed up relationship. Like I said, the cracks are beginning to show. There were signs from the beginning, but they both kind of chose to ignore them. And, then now things are getting difficult. It's both parties kind of trying to manipulate the other. Vessel feels like she owes him for allowing her to use his body. He's given up everything for her. He's given up his entire being, identity, past memories, body, everything for her. But Sleep is a goddess. She feels like she is above humans. She feels like, he should only be so happy to grant her his body. That takes us to track 6, Take Aim. I believe we've gotten to springtime by this point in the album, so we're going through the seasons. Winter was like just beginning, things are falling apart. Springtime is things have gotten much worse. I believe this is Vessel being so codependent on sleep that he needs kind of like constant validation, constant reassurance, and it's almost never enough. He is obsessed with her to the point of self-destruction. And despite how toxic their relationship is, he would still rather suffer with her than spend, a moment without her. That's how kind of, obsessive and messed up he is. But, some people might think, oh, that's so sweet, but really it's just very unhealthy as far as relationships go. But basically this song, I believe, is a Vessel just reaffirming his love for sleep. And on to track 7, Give. This is actually a really sweet song from Vessel to Sleep. I believe he's asking Sleep to let him in. Basically, so far she's kind of kept him at an arm's length. She puts up a lot of walls and doesn't want him to see the real her at times. Because she doesn't want him to see just how dark and terrible she can be. However, Vessel is kind of imploring her to let him see the darkest side of her. He's saying that he will be by her side no matter what she's done, no matter how bad or dark things get. And I think that's really sweet. Despite the rest of the toxic, unhealthy relationship stuff we encounter in this album, I think this one song is actually really sweet. Track 8, Gods. So I believe this track is Sleep really unleashing on Vessel. She was like, hey, you want to see all of me? You want to see the darkest parts of me? Okay, here it is. And she kind of opens the floodgates. She's been pushing Vessel away, like saying, it's safer, if you just stay, behind the walls that I've built. And, she doesn't want him to see how destructive and terrible she can be. But Vessel has been bothering her and begging her to, show her real self. And so I believe this is her doing exactly that. I imagine her perhaps just mercilessly killing a bunch of people, whether that's in the earth realm or more so the nightmare dream realm. Not quite sure, but maybe this happened a long time ago in the past when she used to walk the earth and she's responsible for some natural disaster, some kind of plague or something like that. But I believe this is her just murking a bunch of people and going on a huge rampage. And Vessel is experiencing this kind of in real time as Sleep and kind of feels her pain as if it's his own. And he realizes, that she kind of likes this. She gets off on this like really, tumultuous state of being, just in constant angry pain and suffering where, she operates in this very self-destructive, highly volatile state at all times, very chaotic. And I think at the end of this song, she shows him even further, her terrible and merciless nature by actually physically hurting Vessel, just to show him how easy it is for her to inflict pain without remorse. Track 9, Sugar. This has got to be like the song that gets stuck in my head the most. I'm always singing this song to myself. Anyway, this song, I believe, is Vessel reaffirming his love to her, despite the pain that she's put him through, despite how she just hurt him deeply. Now he has finally broken through her walls. Now he has finally seen the real her, the real Sleep, the real terrible, awful goddess, and how ruthless she can be. And he doesn't blink. They have been through a lot together, and he's not about to turn away now. So I think this track is him just kind of bearing himself to her, saying, do your worst. You've hurt me already, but, what more can you do? I still trust you. I still love you, kind of no matter what. And on to track 10, Say That You Will. I believe that it is winter again. We've gone a whole year since the beginning of this album. And I believe that Sleep and Vessel have begun to work out their differences for a time, that is. So I kind of imagine like during the summer and fall, maybe things were all peaches for the most part. You know, there's still lots of fighting, but like things hadn't reached a, tipping point at all during the summer. But now that it is winter again, I believe Vessel feels Sleep retreating from him once more. She spends longer and longer in the dream realm as the nights grow longer and the days grow shorter. And so she spends longer and longer in the dream realm, not surfacing nearly enough for Vessel's addiction to her. And he feels like she might be about to leave him. And he begs her to stay. You know, he kind of feels her retreating again, feels like she might be about to break their union that they have. And he's begging her, to stay with him. One day, after she does not resurface from the dream realm, he waits and waits and waits day after day. And the waiting is driving him crazy. He's never waited this long for her consciousness to resurface. And this is the longest it's ever gone, and he is just going crazy waiting. And that takes us right into track 11, Drag Me Under. I believe this is kind of a setup for the next album that we're going to get into. This has a lot to do with the water theme in the next album. Vessel just can't take it anymore, and so he goes to seek Sleep by drawing her out through a suicide attempt. I believe he jumps into a body of water and refuses to swim. I'll get into the location of this body of water in the next album. But what you need to know is that he tries to kill himself by jumping into water and refusing to swim. And so by doing this, he believes that he will summon Sleep, make her return to the earthly realm when she feels her tether to the earth beginning to die. And that takes us into our 12th and final track, Bloodsport. So this is a Vessel being brought back up to the surface by Sleep. His plan has worked. His suicide attempt has brought Sleep from her dream realm back into the earthly realm to save, Vessel's life, and makes him swim to the surface. And Sleep is so pissed, at his attention-seeking behavior, and she decides she wants to end it with him. She says she's going to find a new vessel, a new body, that she doesn't want to do this anymore because that was fucking crazy, which it was. And Vessel, tries to rationalize with her, tries to explain that, he did all of this out of love, and she kind of, pushed him to it, being that, he did what he did just to be able to talk to her. She kind of has ghosted him for days on end. Leaving him without her is killing him. And so he says that he's willing to do anything to get her back. She is his entire world, and he can't live without her. So, he was basically saying, if you were, going to save my life just to break up with me, you might as well have just let me die. But he admits all the mistakes that he's made in the relationship. He owns up to it. And that's, I think, kind of where this album ends, is on a bit of a cliffhanger where we're not sure if, Sleep and Vessel are going to reconcile their relationship, or if Sleep is just going to kill him right there on the spot, or let him drown, or, what have you. So I think that's just kind of where we're left wondering what's going to happen between these two. Everything is up in the air. Both parties are guilty of a lot of things. And yeah, it's just a really messed up relationship. And I'm excited to talk about where things go in the next album. I'll try to get the album explanation out as soon as I possibly can, but it might be a few weeks. I'm losing my voice as I'm speaking. This is my second video today. I don't normally talk this much. Anyway, please let me know all of your thoughts, ideas, things you disagree with, or anything you want to mention down in the comments about how you imagined this story concept, lore, interpretation going. So please drop all of that in the comments. And I'm always really interested to hear what you guys have to say. And a lot of you have really great ideas and different interpretations than my own. And it's always fun to read those. So let's chat about it down in the comments. And as always, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the little bell thing if you want to get notified when I do those other videos. I also have a whole host of other concept albums that I've explained over the years. I will link that at the end of this video. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry my voice is just gone. But yeah, again, feel free to join my Metalhead community. Link is down in the description and it's totally free. But yeah, I will see you guys soon for the next album explanation. This place will become your tomb. So thanks for watching. Till next time.